Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you all here on Zoom, and I understand also on YouTube for today's Artful Wednesday presentation at University of Pittsburgh, which I'm delighted to have put together for you today. My name is Kwame Ryan, and I'm the director of the Academy for the Performing Arts at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, which as a name is a mouthful. So in everyday life, we just refer to the Academy as APA, Academy for the Performing Arts, or APA for short. Now, when I'm not leading the APA in Trinidad, I am a musician. I work as a freelance symphonic and operatic conductor, a job that's taken me all around the world, to the US many times, where you are, to South Korea, to South Africa, the UK, Europe, where I am right now. In fact, I'm speaking to you from Freiburg im Breisgau, which is in the south of Germany, on the French-Swiss border. So about 30 minutes and you're in France, 40 minutes and you're in Switzerland. So it's a nice place to live. It's near the Black Forest. And in fact, I'm not in Trinidad today because I got stuck here in Germany during a short trip all the way back in March. A week after I arrived here in Freiburg, the Trinidad and Tobago border, along with a lot of other borders around the world, closed because of the coronavirus. So I've been working in Trinidad from Germany ever since, just like this, on Zoom. And fortunately, because I started my career as a conductor in Germany and in this city, in Freiburg, I also have an apartment here, so I'm not, crashing with friends for 6 months. I'm actually in my own space. So in the spirit of Zoom lessons, which I'm sure many of you will be dealing with now, like many other students around the world, just a couple of housekeeping things. Today's presentation is going to be in a sort of hybrid format. I'm going to do live introductions and then play you video presentations from the APA archive. So fingers crossed that nothing technical goes wrong on my end. And since I've decided to screen share these videos, you'll just have to bear with me a little bit as I transition between introductions and playing the videos, because it's a few clicks on the screen. But when we tested, we found that this was the best quality for you as an audience, as an online audience. Otherwise, I think you'll find that you get best value out of the audio if you're wearing earphones. If you have some headphones or earphones to hand, good idea to throw those on now. And then final request, if there are any questions, I know it's quite customary to pop questions in the chat, but what we're going to do is, if we have time at the end of the presentation, I'll take those questions live on Zoom. And but my goodness, feel free to put them in the Zoom chat if you're here as well, and we'll see what we do with getting those questions answered. So let's get things rolling. First of all, what is the Academy for the Performing Arts, and what does it do? Well, it is a multidisciplinary art school. It's located in the heart of Port of Spain, Trinidad, which is one of the twin islands of Trinidad and Tobago, at the southernmost island in the chain of islands that starts on the tip of South America, right on the tip of Venezuela. And our program offers Bachelor in Fine Arts degrees in the performing arts and in the digital media arts, which means that students at the Academy can study anything from music and music technology to acting, to dance, theater design, production, animation, and game design. So it's a really stimulating, multidisciplinary environment, a mix of art forms under one roof, which makes for a pretty special student life, which is hard to describe. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let my first clip speak for itself and give you a sense of the APA and its students in what I would call performance mode. is your first look at the Academy for the Performing Arts, where I work. And many of the performances that you saw in that clip are from our end-of-year Performing Arts Festival, which we call APA Fest. So there's that abbreviation, APA Fest. So before I continue any further, I just want to take this opportunity to thank Michael Chapman, who's an adjunct senior instructor of guitar at the APA, and I believe a longtime collaborator of Pitt Arts, for extending this invitation to me to do this presentation. As a little homage to him, I put some images of him with his guitar students in Trinidad in the trailer. So if you know him, shout out to Michael. So let me just put the picture of the Academy that I'm painting in context by showing you a couple of things here on my screen. So I hope you're seeing that image of the Academy shot from above. It's made of 6 petals. So on your left, like under the bright red UTT logo, the biggest petal of all is a concert hall, and it's the concert hall that you saw in that trailer. Then going clockwise, the next 2 petals are the Academy for the Performing Arts. And then the final 3 petals coming around clockwise are actually a hotel. I like to think that it's not an accident that these petals of the Academy for the Performing Arts look a little bit like the steel pan, because that's the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. And actually, I'm going to be playing you a little bit of pan later on in the presentation. So now you know what the Academy looks like and what we do, roughly. What I'd like to do now is give you just a little bit more context about Trinidad and Tobago, and some more visuals about, what it looks like there. And I'm going to take the opportunity to show you the launch video of a brand new program. It's literally launching next week. Well, it launched officially, but we're starting to audition for it in about a week. And it's a Steel Pan Fellowship. So if there are any of you who play steel pan or love steel pan or are interested, this might be something for you. It'll give you a little bit of information about the steel pan, which is the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago, some historical perspective, very briefly, and it'll show you some nice views of Trinidad and Tobago. So this is the launch video of the APA Pan Fellowship.
Trinidad and Tobago is a cultural melting pot. An internationally renowned festival hotspot, and the birthplace of the steel pan family of instruments. Emerging from a tradition in which bamboo, bottles, and brake hubs became percussion instruments, the tuned steel pan, handmade from 55-gallon oil drums, first appeared in the 1940s. By the 50s and 60s, the instrument had reached North America and the United Kingdom, and soon the steel orchestra, playing classical to calypso, was becoming popular worldwide. Today, with the advent of modern construction techniques, digital pans, and virtual steel orchestras, what was once an island instrument has become a global phenomenon. In partnership with the Caribbean Development Bank's Cultural and Creative Industries Innovation Fund, the APA Pan Fellowship will offer local, visiting, and online participants access to the authentic traditions of steel pan, interaction with local pan professionals and students, and exposure to the rich culture of Trinidad and Tobago. An opportunity for personal development, professional networking, and outreach activities across the Twin Islands. Get an edge in the worldwide Pan fraternity. Apply today to join the APA Pan Fellowship.
The launch video of the APA Pan Fellowship, of course, I don't expect all of you to be applying as you finish this live stream, but I just thought it presented some beautiful views of Trinidad and Tobago, and most importantly, it showed you some glimpses of Carnival. And Carnival is unbelievably important in Trinidad and Tobago. It's one of the biggest street carnivals in the world, alongside the one in Brazil. It runs for just about 3 days intensively, but there's weeks of build-up, and a lot of the pan playing that you saw during that video was at a competition called Panorama, which is like the mecca for steel band performance in any one year. A lot of our students perform in that competition, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit later our own version of Panorama, our sort of internal academy Panorama, and you'll see our students play the kind of arrangements that you would hear on the grand stage at the Queen's Park Savannah during Carnival. All right, so the next clip I have for you, I've included to give you a sense of kind of what it's like to be at the APA in a less formal setting. So you've seen the staged performances, or you've seen some clips of staged performances. You're going to see full performances after this video. But I just wanted to give you one video that shows you a little bit of student life. So this time last year, the Executive Student Guild at the university mounted an orientation fair called U-Nation, and that's U-Nation with 2 T's for UTT. And this event brought together delegations from all the different campuses at the academy to celebrate the start of the academic year. And as it turned out, the event was held right in front of our building on our campus. Because it's a beautiful building and a kind of iconic campus, it's very central. And as usual, the APA students and faculty were in their roles as entertainers for the guests at our campus. So in this short video you're about to see about this orientation fair, you'll see some flag waving. And flag waving, I just want to tell you, is part of the Trinidad Carnival tradition. It goes along with the Panorama competition. While the bands play, there's what we call a flag woman. Sometimes it's a man, a flag man, who waves the flag of the band with its logo and its sponsor, most importantly, because Pan in Trinidad is also business and money while they play. So the flag waving you see is our flag student at the APA, and all the purple that you're going to see in this clip is because the color of our Student Guild chapter is purple, and our mascot is the Phoenix. So this next clip is the 2019, so last year's U-Nation Orientation Fair. A little bit of a shame that we didn't get to do it this year. if you were looking to get to our website to see what else is going on at the APA, you can use that link, u.tt/APA. All right, so let's get into some performances now that you have some context. And the first performance that I want to show you is from APAFest 2018. And it's the APA Percussion Ensemble with its instructor, Josh Watkins. And they're going to be performing a piece called Ritual Music by a US-based percussionist, pretty well known, called David Skidmore of Third Coast Percussion, which is based in Chicago. So what we do is we do APAFest as a live show, but when there are performances that are particularly good, we will do a recording session before the premiere. So this is the session we did for the APA Percussion Ensemble playing Ritual Music by David Skidmore. Ritual Music by David Skidmore, performed by the students of the APA Percussion Ensemble with their instructor, Josh Watkins. That was just one performance in an evening that lasted over 2 hours. As you guys may know, if you're in the arts at all, when a pedagogical institution does an arts presentation, it tends to be long because there's lots of students to get a chance. But we like to put the students that are ready for it in the environment of recording. They get a certain amount of experience of that high pressure environment, which we think really takes them to the next level with their artistry, also with their nerves, with their sense of confidence, all of that. So we try to record things that we think are going to help students to move forward. Okay, so from the music department, we're going to go to the dance department now. I said it was a multidisciplinary environment. So this next piece is a piece which gives me the opportunity to introduce you not only to the dance department, but also to some of the music faculty at APA. In almost all areas of our faculty, we have working professionals who are active in the industry. We just like to be able to communicate to the students that we walk the talk, that we're actually out there in the industry performing on stage. In one academic year, they know that some of the instructors are going to disappear off to perform, and they see them on Instagram, they see them on Twitter from wherever they're performing, and that's something that I think is motivating for them. So this next piece, and by the way, that is no more true in the academy than in the music department, and a lot of our instructors are working professionals, working performers. And so when they're at the academy, just to keep their hand in, they come together as an ensemble, which is the UTT Ibis Ensemble. The scarlet ibis, by the way, is the national bird of Trinidad and Tobago. And this next clip is going to show you 3 extracts from a longer piece entitled Becoming. And it was composed by our assistant professor of composition, Adam Walters, and choreographed by one of our assistant professors of dance, Nancy Herrera. And it's performed live. The music is performed live on the stage by the UTT Ibis Ensemble, so members of the music faculty. And it's performed by the Metamorphosis Dance Company, which includes many APA students. So these are 3 short extracts from a longer ballet called Becoming. extracts from Becoming by Adam Walters and Nancy Herrera. And I don't know if you can even imagine what it's like to be in an ensemble like that when you're actually in a teaching environment. So the person on flute is the deputy director of the academy. That's my deputy, Katie Gainham. And, you know, she'll be in the office doing administrative stuff, and then she'll rush off to play flute at a rehearsal and then come back. But we love it. We love being in that environment where we're doing what we do, but also teaching what we do. And we just think that that makes for a very special environment for the students as well. Okay, so from the dance department, we're going to go over to the acting department. I showed you excerpts from Apperfest, which was on the main stage of the National Academy for the Performing Arts. When the acting department does its end-of-year productions, they're not usually on that big stage. That's a vast stage, which is, you know, only well filled by a lot of dancers or an orchestra or something really massive. There have been acting productions on that stage, but not that often. What the actors do is they, at the end of their 4-year program, each acting student writes, produces, directs, and performs a one-person show. And that is like a calling card for producers and directors from the industry to come and see what, you know, what talent is emerging. And often actors get hired for television, radio, film gigs straight out of their one-person shows. So what I've prepared for you today is 3 trailers which were prepared for the one-person shows in 2018. And so this will just give you a taste of what those one-person shows are like. Again, they're written, produced, directed, and acted by the student, him or herself. So enjoy these monologues from the one-person shows in 2018.
You see, your demons hide under your bed. Mine are inside my head. Do you know what it's like to feel like you are in constant battle with your own mind? To go from feeling happy to depressed in a matter of seconds? It's not some sappy coming-of-age rom-com plot. It's not crying off your mascara because some waste man doesn't like you back. It's not locking yourself in your room and playing the same sad song on repeat. What it is, though, is not wanting to talk to anyone for days, but still not wanting to be alone. Sometimes it's having no appetite. Sometimes it's eating everything in sight. Depression isn't your mom holding you, telling you it's going to be okay. It's sitting across from her, having her ask you what's wrong, and not wanting to ruin her night because she already has so much on her plate.
I was watching Garfie's little one. What's her name? By Nyla. This generation, they don't even know that it's her grandfather's old calypso she mixed it into soca. Calypso was always sweet. I'm sure people in the past were saying that they had the best calypsos. But now, calypso is sweeter and must go further. We have to make a circle, man. You got to start from the beginning, make a loop, and then come back. But this time on a wider scale. We got to keep expanding, man. Calypso is real. It makes people dance. Calypso is alive, man. It can't be stagnant. Mm-mm.
We together 5 years now. We made it official when I was 19 and he was 21. No, I still waiting for this man to marry me, boy. I want one of those big black diamond rings. Mrs. Samantha Garcia. And they lived happily ever after. Have you ever been stuck in a continuous loop of letting someone break your heart and forgiving them? Letting them break your heart again and forgiving them again? And letting them break your heart and forgiving them again? And letting them break your heart and forgiving them again? Yeah, me too.
Students of the acting department of the Academy for the Performing Arts, those monologues get me every time. The students tend to pack really personal stuff in there because they're up there on stage on their own and they want it to be authentic and feel real. And for my money, it sure does that. So there's good work going on there. Hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so let's go back to the music department, but this time I'm going to present a student composition. I mentioned that we had an assistant professor of composition at the Academy, and this next piece is by one of his students, and it's called Heaven and Hell, and it was written by a young composer called Ronaldo Romai at a time when he was actually in a course with me and my colleague Adam, the composition professor. And the task that the composition students were set was to write music for film or television. And Ronaldo came up with this piece for viola, which in this clip is played by our assistant professor of violin and viola, Simon Brown, and vocalist in the person of his fellow student and voice major, Christy Joseph. There is also in this piece a loop machine, a pitch shifter, and a delay pedal involved. So this is Heaven and Hell by Ronaldo Romai. Heaven and Hell by Ronaldo Ramay, played by Simon Brown on the viola with some help from a pitch shifter and a delay pedal. I can only imagine, and Christy Joseph, of course, on vocals. I can only imagine, and it strikes me occasionally how inspiring it must be for a young composer to have a performer of Simon's caliber, world-class violinist, take your new piece seriously and perform it like that, and have a peer singing it as well. I think that must be so empowering. And that's one of the qualities of the Academy that I really like, that the instructors are in amongst the students and accessible for those kinds of projects. So, by the way, it occurs to me also that that piece is not only played by Simon and sung by Christy, but also expertly illustrated by a very busy video editor whose name is unknown to me. I apologize. So next up is the dance department, but not on stage like you saw before. So in the first semester of each academic year, the students in the dance program do a course called Site-Specific Choreography, which requires them to create works to be performed basically anywhere but in the theatre, anywhere but on a stage. So works coming out of this course have been seen in parks around the academy, on the waterfront in Port of Spain, on the harbour. And in 2019, one of these pieces was performed on the landing right outside the entrance to the APA, where there is a rather dramatic-looking stone block, which I understand plays an important role in holding the building up. But in the performance you're about to see, the same block became part of the set design for this piece called Inori Prayer, and it was choreographed by a student called Anicia Baptiste, who's also the lead dancer in the piece. The music is by a Japanese composer called Yosuke Nagao, and you'll see that the audience is actually just sort of congregated on the landing very informally. I was in that audience, and I was really impressed by this piece. So I hope you enjoy it. This is Inori Prayer by Anicia Baptiste in the course Site-Specific Choreography. most fun exam ever, as far as I'm concerned. That was Inori Prayer by Anicia Baptiste in the site-specific choreography course. And the only reason why that particular performance is in this presentation is because Anicia was in a class with me the other day and said that she had an opportunity to submit that choreography to a festival abroad for consideration, and she asked me to put together an edit for her, and I did it with the greatest pleasure, and just having done that edit, I had it to present to you, so I hope you enjoyed that. All right, so that actually brings us almost to the end of my presentation today. Before I play the last clip, I just want to thank Annabelle Klippinger and for making this collaboration possible. It really has been a blast. And as I promised, I'm going to finish my presentation with the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago, which is the steel pan. So as I mentioned, every year in February or March, during the pre-Lenten Carnival, which is the major event in the calendar of Trinidad and Tobago, there's a steel pan competition called Panorama. And this competition is serious business for the bands that participate. You saw some of those images in the Pan Fellowship clip. There's a lot of prize money at stake, but also a lot of prestige, bragging rights if you win, devastation if you don't. Corporate sponsorship is on the line, and of course, a lot of fun. And in fact, during the carnival semester, as we call it, the second semester, the Pan students of the APA make pretty much all their school money for the rest of the year. But to do that, they have to rehearse nights, weekdays, until often 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning leading up to this competition, because the arrangements that they play are performed, they're not only very complex, but they're performed by memory, and they're learned by rote. So many of the panists don't read music. Our students do, and they tend to come to rehearsals a little bit later in the season, but most of the panists are learning note by note as they're played for them in the sort of call and response process. So the performance you're about to see is by the APA Steel Pan Ensemble, and it's at APAFest 2019, so last year in May. And this is an abridged version of one of the most famous arrangements ever in Panorama by a now deceased pan arranger called Ken Fillmore. And this performance was the Pan Ensemble's homage to him. So this is a piece called Pan by Storm, and it's performed by the APA Pan Ensemble. And it was the finale of APAFest 2019. So I hope you enjoy this, and if there are any questions after, I'll be happy to take them. So Pan by Storm, APA Pan Ensemble. The APA Pan Ensemble, Pan by Storm. It won't surprise you to learn that that was the last thing that they did before going off on summer holidays. You can totally tell, can't you? So yeah, there's a lot going on there. Apart from anything else, they're all expert pan players. They all earn good money playing pan when they have time from school. And by the way, the reason that they practice until 2 and 3 in the morning is because each of them is probably going to play in 2, 3, sometimes 4 different bands, learning 3, 4 different arrangements just like that to perform in the same competition, in competition against themselves, because they need to make the money and because they can. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this presentation all about the Academy for the Performing Arts in Trinidad and Tobago. And yeah, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them. Otherwise, thanks again for the opportunity. It's been a blast.